is what's going to get the learning done. So if there are a few jiggly noises or siren going on outside or maybe a little air conditioning, people screw up occasionally. That's the only reason I screw up, really. That's probably going to be a better learning experience. Now, when I wrote my book on informal learning, I tried to encourage companies to learn from their mistakes. So I said to set up a corporate museum, but not for outsiders to come into, just for the use of workers there. So employees can come and visit and hear the culture and, the icons and reinforce the values. And also there'd be a wall of our 10 greatest mistakes, because you don't want to repeat them. I mean, we learn from mistakes better than from anything else. And a friend of mine who's somewhat well known in the UK for learning told me that'll never fly in the UK. Well, now that's one thing I want you to think about before we get back together later. Well, I think it's this afternoon sometime. Would that fly in your company? Could there be a list of our greatest mistakes? Or do you try to forget them, which leads to people repeating them? Finally, I want to mention a study of a young woman who walked out of the gates of the University of Berlin and across the street to a coffee shop in 1920 and noticed these people. The waiters were phenomenal. They would take hundreds of orders and remember them in their heads. I mean, this is not short-term memory. This is something else going on. And they'd remember those until they'd been given the coffee and been paid off, and then nothing. So this woman, Bluma Zargarnik by name, who happened to be research assistant to Kurt Lewin when he was in Berlin, studied this particular effect. And she found that when transactions aren't completed, the mind is in tension and can hold a lot of things at once. So if you're reading a book and you want to get up and get a snack and a beer, don't finish a chapter and do it. Leave in mid-chapter, because when you come back, believe me, it'll still be active in your head. If you're an instructor, you may make the students feel more comfortable, but if you want to maximize their learning, you don't finish just when the bell goes off perfectly with, and here's the conclusion. What you do instead is be right in the middle of a story. For instance, a story about the sailors and the ducks on the beach, and then time's up.